saving time with Oracle Clips.
In this video, I'll show you how to mount an NFS export on Oracle Linux. I'll assume you already have the NFS export configured on your server system. We'll start by installing the nfs-utils package and manually mounting the NFS export. Within the terminal on my client system, I'll enter sudo dnf install nfs-utils. Next, I'll create a directory to use as a mount point with sudo mkdir, and then I'm going to call it nfs-mount. Now, to mount the export, I'll use sudo mount followed by the IP address of my server system, / the name of the NFS export, and then the path of the mount point I just created. If we use ls-lh/nfs-mount, we can see the 3 files contained within the export. Let's take a look at what happens when I modify one of these shared files. I'll go ahead and open the shared text doc with vi/nfs-mount/sharedtext.txt. I'll add a new line of text. We'll just say, "Hello world," and I'll go ahead and save that file. Now, if we return to our server system, we can take a look at that file I just modified. So I'll write vi/nfs-share/sharedtext.txt. We can see that the file has the hello world text that I added while on the client system, so everything looks like it's working great. Let's demonstrate root squashing. We'll start by opening up the exports file to remind us of what we configured. I'll use vi/etc/exports. When I set up this NFS server, I didn't specify any root squashing options, I just had the RW option listed, which means by default, the root access will be squashed when a client accesses the export as the root user. To see this in action, we can return to our client system and try to run a command as root within our export. Let's say that I want to change the permissions on that text file we just modified. I'll do sudo chmod 766/nfs-mount/sharedtext.txt. It's going to say I don't have permissions to do this. If we trusted the client system and its users to have root access, we could adjust our etc exports file on the server. I'll go ahead and return to our server system, then within the etc exports file, I'll add the no root squash option and save the file. I'll restart the NFS service so that we reload the updated exports file with systemctl restart nfs server. Returning to our client system, since we've turned off root squashing, now when I run the chmod command, it allows me to do it. With ls-lh, I can see that the permissions have been updated. Let's say that we're done with that export. I can unmount the share using sudo umount/nfs-mount. Now if we use ls-lh to look at that mount point, we can see that it's empty. We've seen how to mount and unmount the share manually, but next, let's take a look at auto-mounting the export when the system starts. To do this, we'll need to add the share to the etc/fstab file, which is the file system table. I'll open the file with sudo bi/etc/fstab. Your file will probably look different than mine. I just have a simple virtual machine, so my file's pretty basic. I'll go to the end of the file and add our NFS export. The syntax here is the device name, the mount point, file system type, any options, and then values for dump and pass. On the next line, we'll add the NFS export information, which is the IP address of my server system, / the name of the share, then the mount point on my client system, which is nfs-mount. The file system type is NFS. For options, I'll put RW, and dump and pass will be 0 and 0. I'll go ahead and save that file. Then I could restart the system, or I could use sudo mount-a to automatically mount the file systems. If we take a look at our mount point using ls-lh/nfs-mount, there's the content of the NFS export. Each time the system starts, the NFS export will automatically be mounted. That's all there is to connecting to the NFS export from a client system. Thanks for watching!
You can see more clips here, and don't forget to subscribe to always get the latest.